The air in the ancient subterranean vault was cold, dry, and heavy, with the scent of petrified wood and something else, something indefinable, like the faint echo of forgotten screams. A single, slender beam of moonlight, fractured by a hidden aperture high above, illuminated a colossal, intricately carved stone tablet that dominated the center of the room. Upon its surface, etched in a language long lost to common man, were not images of triumphant heroes or benevolent deities, but of majestic dragons, their forms contorted in agony, their eyes reflecting a profound sorrow, and of human figures, cloaked in shadow, offering a golden chalice to a serpent that coiled around a broken sword. Before this tablet, a lone figure knelt, their silhouette stark against the shimmering light, hands outstretched towards a swirling vortex of mist that seemed to coalesce from the very stone. From the depths of this ethereal mist, a low, resonant hum began to emanate, a sound that vibrated not through the air, but through the very bones, a whisper from the primordial past. What great betrayal, orchestrated in the dawn of time, ensnared the ancient lineage of the dragon? And what profound truth about our world does this forgotten treachery truly reveal? What timeless secret did this enigmatic scene conceal? And what profound revelation awaited the one who dared to look beyond the grand narratives, to perceive the delicate threads of a hidden, sacred betrayal? My name is Lyra, and the call to something beyond had been a persistent, almost melancholic echo within my soul since my earliest memories. It wasn't a voice in the conventional sense, no audible sound, but a deep, undeniable resonance that pulled me towards the hidden currents of the world, towards the whispers of forgotten lore, towards the shimmering edges of reality where myth and history intertwined. My journey began not in a grand temple or a bustling city, but in the quiet solitude of my own mind, in recurring dreams of vast, luminous caverns where majestic dragons, once revered, were slowly ensnared by invisible chains, their light dimming, their roars turning to whimpers. These visions were always accompanied by a profound sense of injustice, a deep knowing that the grand narratives I had been taught were incomplete, that something vital had been omitted, deliberately obscured. It was in an old, forgotten library, tucked away in the labyrinthine alleys of a bustling ancient city, its existence known only to a select few, that I stumbled upon a tattered, fragmented codex. Its pages, brittle with age and smelling of dried herbs and ancient ink, spoke of the dragon trap, a cataclysmic event that befell an ancient lineage of enlightened beings, often depicted with draconic attributes, who once guided humanity. The codex hinted at a great betrayal, an act of profound treachery that led to their downfall and the subsequent suppression of their wisdom. It spoke of a clandestine order, the keepers of the dragon's memory, who had dedicated themselves to preserving fragments of this truth, embedding them in symbols, myths, and even in the very structure of human consciousness itself. This library, with its scent of aged paper and forgotten wisdom, its shelves laden with scrolls that seemed to hum with ancient energy, became my first sacred setting, a silent sanctuary where the seeds of my true quest were sown, where the whispers of my visions began to take tangible form, urging me to seek the truth of this ancient, enigmatic betrayal. The path unveiled by these fragmented codices and my recurring visions was not one of easy discovery, nor a linear progression, but a profound journey of introspection and arduous self-confrontation, a spiraling descent into the depths of my own being. Each symbol deciphered, each cryptic verse pondered, each meditation undertaken brought a new layer of internal resistance to the surface, challenging my preconceived notions and comfortable beliefs. There was the gnawing doubt that whispered of madness, of chasing phantoms in the vast ocean of esoteric knowledge, abandoning the solid ground of conventional thought for dangerous illusions. There was the profound fear of abandoning the comforting certainties of the known world, of severing ties with the familiar narratives of history, of stepping into an abyss of the unknown. And there was the terror of confronting revelations that might shatter my understanding of the world, leaving me adrift without an anchor, without a familiar shore. External resistances manifested subtly, not as physical threats or overt persecution, but as insidious tests of spiritual resolve. Whispers of scorn from those who clung to conventional dogma, their eyes reflecting suspicion and misunderstanding, moments of profound isolation where the world seemed to turn its back, leaving me feeling utterly alone in my pursuit. There were also encounters with enigmatic figures, members of the Keepers of the Dragon's memory, who spoke in riddles and parables, challenging my understanding and commitment, pushing me to look beyond the literal. I remember one such encounter vividly in a secluded garden, where an old woman, her face etched with ancient wisdom, her eyes holding a knowing glint like the deep cosmos, simply said, "The greatest wounds, young one, are often self-inflicted or born of trust misplaced. Are you willing to face the shadow of betrayal, both within and without, to reclaim the lost honor?" Her words resonated deeply, forcing me to confront my own inner darkness, my attachments to intellectual understanding, my ego's need for concrete proof, my fear of my own power. I learned of ancient entities, forces of manipulation and deceit, who sought to maintain a fragmented narrative, to keep humanity bound to a limited perception, to the cycle of ignorance and fear, by obscuring the true light of this ancient lineage. I understood that the perilous revelations that awaited those who dared to pierce their veil were not external dangers, but internal transformations, a stripping away of all that was false, a dismantling of inherited beliefs, a burning away of all that was not authentic. The journey was a series of profound losses, the loss of my simplistic understanding of history, the loss of my fear of societal judgment, the loss of the self I had carefully constructed over a lifetime, piece by painful piece. Each loss, however, brought a deeper understanding, a clearer vision of the path ahead, a sense of shedding old skin to reveal something more authentic, more ancient, more aligned with the universal consciousness. The deeper I delved, the more I felt the presence of the ancient lineage, not as a distant concept, but as a living, breathing force within me, its ancient wisdom and boundless power urging me forward, even as the fear tried to hold me back, preparing me for the ultimate revelation. The climax arrived in the heart of the ancient, subterranean vault, the very place where my journey had begun, a sanctuary hidden from the eyes of the uninitiated, a nexus point where the energies of Earth and cosmos converged. The air was now charged, almost electric, carrying the faint scent of ozone, an ancient power, and the moonlight beam intensified its glow, casting vibrant, shifting colors across the colossal stone tablet, illuminating the intricate carvings with an ethereal dance. In the center of the chamber, the symbol of the serpent coiling around the broken sword began to pulse with an inner light, mirroring the symbol of the eye within a spiral, now glowing intensely. Around its edge, the ancient figures seemed to come alive, their inner cosmos expanding. As I knelt before the tablet, my heart pounding with a mixture of awe and trepidation, a profound stillness descended, a silence so deep it seemed to absorb all sound, all thought. My hands, guided by an unseen force, rose instinctively, placing themselves upon the pulsing stone. As my fingers touched its warm surface, it resonated with my own heartbeat, and a wave of pure, incandescent light flooded my consciousness, not from an external source, but from within my very being. It was then that the truth, the profound revelation of the dragon trap, the great betrayal of the ancient lineage, flooded my consciousness not as a concept, but as a direct, visceral experience. I saw not a single historical event, but an unbroken stream of consciousness, a sacred current flowing through all humanity, carefully encoded and passed down, waiting for this very moment. The ancient lineage was a group of highly evolved beings, often symbolized as dragons for their wisdom, power, and connection to primal forces, who had guided early humanity. The Great Betrayal was not a singular act, but a series of calculated deceptions and manipulations by a faction driven by fear and a desire for control. They exploited vulnerabilities, sowed discord, and ultimately, through a cunning dragon trap, severed humanity's direct connection to this lineage and its wisdom, replacing it with narratives of subservience and external authority. The golden chalice offered to the serpent symbolized the corruption of sacred knowledge and power for selfish gain, leading to the broken sword, the fracturing of truth, and the loss of spiritual sovereignty. The impact was overwhelming, a wave of pure, unadulterated truth that simultaneously shattered and rebuilt my entire being, dissolving all previous limitations and expanding my consciousness beyond measure. I felt a connection to every sentient being, to every star in the vast cosmos, to the very fabric of existence, a profound sense of belonging to something infinitely vast and ancient, yet intimately present. It was a revelation that transcended words, a direct communion with the source, a memory of a time when I, too, was part of that sacred knowledge, an emanation of the universal consciousness. Tears streamed down my face, not of sorrow, but of a profound, almost unbearable understanding, a recognition of a truth that had always resided within me, waiting to be awakened, to be remembered. The world I knew, the library, the ancient codices, my very identity, dissolved into this boundless truth, only to be reformed, imbued with a new, deeper purpose, a sacred mission to share this awakening. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. And tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to know. The revelation, though profoundly illuminating and liberating, brought with it an immense sense of quietude, a solitude born of seeing beyond the veil, of perceiving the world through the eyes of this awakened inner wisdom. The world I had known, with its clamor and distractions, its superficial concerns and fleeting pleasures, now seemed distant, almost translucent. Its illusions starkly apparent, yet no longer binding. I chose a period of profound contemplation, retreating from the bustling world and the company of others, seeking refuge in a secluded ancient forest, a place where the wind whispered ancient secrets through the leaves of colossal trees, and the dappled sunlight offered solace, its shifting patterns a constant reminder of the dynamic truth I had witnessed. There, under the boundless canopy of the forest, with the earth as my bed and the stars as my ceiling, I entered a state of deep meditation, a profound stillness that allowed the insights to integrate, to settle into the very core of my being, transforming me from the inside out. The forest became my sanctuary, the ancient trees my teachers, their silent strength reflecting the resilience of the spirit, the changing seasons my rhythm, mirroring the cycles of life and death, of awakening and slumber. I spoke in codes, in metaphors, to the rustling leaves and the flowing streams, to the silent stones and the soaring birds, attempting to translate the ineffable into something comprehensible, even if only to myself, knowing that the full truth was beyond human language, beyond the grasp of the rational mind. The conflict within me, the struggle to reconcile the profound truth of the dragon trap with the limitations of human perception, with the demands of earthly existence, slowly dissolved into a profound insight. The external world is a reflection of the internal. The universe is not separate from us. We are an integral, conscious part of it. The silence of the forest was not empty but full, pregnant with the wisdom of ages, a wisdom that spoke of interconnectedness, of the eternal dance between light and shadow, of the constant loving call of the divine that permeates all existence. I understood that the ancient orders had not hidden the truth out of malice or to hoard power, but out of a deep understanding of human readiness and the sacred timing of awakening, knowing that truth, when revealed prematurely, can overwhelm rather than liberate. The dragon trap was not meant to be forced upon humanity, but to gently guide those who were ready to hear its subtle whisper, to remember their own inner universe, their own capacity for boundless wisdom and compassion, their own divine heritage, and to reclaim the sovereignty that was betrayed. My time in the forest transformed me utterly. I emerged not as a recluse, forever separated from the world, but as a messenger, burdened with a truth that could either liberate or overwhelm, depending on the readiness of the recipient, on the openness of their heart and mind. I knew I could not simply speak of what I had seen, for words alone would be insufficient, easily misunderstood or dismissed. It had to be encoded, preserved for those who were ready to receive it, for those whose hearts resonated with the ancient call, with the deep yearning for truth. My final act was to transcribe my visions, my insights, my profound experiences into a series of intricate symbols and allegories, etched onto durable parchment and bound into a single, unassuming codex. This codex, filled with the Gnostic revelation of the dragon trap, the wisdom of the ancient lineage, and the path to spiritual liberation through conscious awareness and the reclamation of inner sovereignty, I then concealed within a forgotten niche in the very ancient vault where my journey had begun, a place accessible only to those who possessed the key of true understanding, a key not of metal or earthly power, but of an awakened spirit, of a heart attuned to compassion and wisdom, a mind open to the mysteries. It was a legacy, a silent invitation to future generations to embark on their own journey of remembrance, to seek out the inner light, to cultivate boundless compassion, and to heed the voice that gently, persistently calls them home from the illusions of this world. I understood that the ultimate truth could not be given, could not be taught in a conventional sense, only discovered, only experienced, and that the revelation would unfold not through a single dramatic event, but through the gradual awakening of individual souls, one by one, until the collective consciousness remembered its divine origin, its true home, and the sacred wisdom of the ancient lineage was fully honored once more, integrated into the tapestry of human evolution, healing the wounds of the great betrayal. And as the sun set over the ancient lands, casting long shadows across the forest, painting the sky with hues of violet and gold, one could almost hear the faint, eternal hum of the universe, a whisper from the heart of existence itself, a symphony of wisdom and compassion, inviting all who dared to listen to remember their true, boundless origin and to follow the voice that calls them home. And if you like this story, you will definitely love the next one that's appearing on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and activate the notifications. See you in the next one.